Hey, Kuva here. It's time for another movie review, and because it's been a while since I've done one, so I would figure that I was going to do some other stuff, but you know what? I am a huge Marvel Comics fan, and as you all know, last week or so, the Avengers came out. Now, I figured I'd do my review on it, so here you go. First off, trailer for it.
War has started. And we are hopelessly outgunned.
Director Fury, I think it's time.
You here with the mission, sir? Trying to get me back in the world?
Trying to save it.
Doctor, we need you to come in.
What if I say no?
I'll persuade you.
What are you asking me to do?
It's called the Avengers Initiative.
I thought I didn't qualify.
Apparently I'm, what is it, volatile, self-obsessed?
And don't play well with others.
I think they need a timeout.
How desperate are you? And you call on such lost creatures to defend you.
You have made me very desperate.
We're not a team. We're a time bomb.
This is nothing we were ever trained for.
Guys,
I'm bringing the party to you.
Marvel's The Avengers, released by Paramount in conjunction with Marvel Studios. Brass tacks on it. Cast. Now, a lot of the cast is reprising the roles from the other 5 tie-in movies that Marvel has labored really hard over the past couple years to get cranked out. Reprising a lot of the roles are Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark / Iron Man, Chris Evans as Captain America / Steve Rogers. Mark Ruffalo is probably the only person in here that is not reprising the character. He is the third person, actually, to be doing Bruce Banner the Hulk. Chris Hemsworth as Thor again. Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff / the Black Widow. Jeremy Renner as Cliff Barton / Hawkeye. Tom Hiddleston as Loki again. Gregg as Agent Phil Coulson. It was nice that they actually included his first name for a change. He's always just been Agent Coulson in the other films. Cobie Smulders coming in as the character Maria Hill. First time for her appearance as I know of in the Marvel films. Stellan Skarsgård as Professor Eric Selvig, reprising his role from Thor. Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. Gwyneth Paltrow in a small role, reprising as Pepper Potts. Paul Bettany as Jarvis again. And then a brief thing, I don't think that most people even really mention it, but they did have a picture of Natalie Portman as Jane Foster. Directed by Joss Whedon of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel fame, also Firefly. Also, he wrote the screenplay with a guy named Zach Penn, and they also credit Stan Lee and Jack Kirby as writers too on the comic side. You might be asking yourself, why am I doing a review on the Avengers? Especially when everybody else and their mother has done a review on the Avengers so far. I want to add my 2 bits and whatnot, and basically my 2 bits is, yeah, it's good. Go see it. My only real complaint that I have about the Avengers, and mind you, I am picking this up when it comes out. I've already got my copy pre-ordered. My biggest problem with it, which is what I was dealing with actually in the theaters to an extent, was flat out the fanboys. I like this film as much as the next person. It's a very good film. You know, when the enjoyment of the film is detracted from so much by the fanboys, who, I mean, these are the same guys that were bitching and moaning because when they did Daredevil, Michael Clark Duncan was picked to play the Kingpin. When Thor was done, I can't remember his name, but the guy that played Heimdall, and he was picked to play Heimdall. They bitched and moaned about that, but yet they are also not bitching and moaning about Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury when it's still basically the same thing. You know, the cosmetic change, even though the character is the same. And then other people who are like, this one girl I know actually tried to do a psychological breakdown of Loki as he stands in the film, which is all fine and dandy, but you know, when people are taking these things that seriously, actually detracts from a lot of the enjoyment of the film. For me, I don't know about for you guys, you know, but when I have to sit there and explain that your assessment of Loki is wrong, because there may be lots of little issues there that are helping to guide and influence the character. I won't deny that, but it's always been about Thor with Loki. Very, very simple concept. It's been done by a lot of other villains before, where it's just like, you know, it's just you and me. It's always been about us. The things that absolutely drives me nuts about these movies, because these movies come out and they're generally pretty good. Marvel's been doing really good at cranking out very good films based off of their franchise in the comics. And then to have the fanboys come running around rampant. Here's an example for you. In the Avengers, Mark Ruffalo, who plays Bruce Banner, the Hulk, there are people who are so gaga over him right now, which is essentially, you know, hey, that's cool. It's nice that Mark Ruffalo is getting lots of praise for his portrayal of Bruce Banner. He did a great job. I will give credit where credit's due. But then to hear the fanboys come along and they are just like, well, this is how the Hulk should have been, and I'm going to ignore anyone else that played him. And so, which is, well, first off, you guys are wrong. You should not ignore the other people that played him. This is the same thing that I told people when everyone became so gay for Heath Ledger as the Joker, when there were nowhere near that when he played an actual gay cowboy in Brokeback Mountain. It was ridiculous. They were completely disregarding every other person who's put time, effort, and offered their interpretation of who they think the Joker is. This is the same thing with Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. It's his interpretation. It's perfectly valid. It's as valid as Eric Bana's interpretation. It's as valid as Edward Norton's interpretation. And it's as invalid as Lou Ferrigno's for the cartoon, and as for the bodywork he did in the original show and the other 5 made-for-television movies. And also as valid as Bill Bixby's interpretation of Bruce Banner. They're all just different takes. And they should all be at least remembered in the fact that it's just like, here's someone who's done it well. Here's another person, their interpretation, like it or not. I mean, you know, it's the same thing. And that's the main drawback to the Avengers. And personally myself, it's like, I may go see this in the theaters again before it leaves the theaters. But I personally can't wait for it to come out on DVD, so I don't have to listen to these fucking pack of rabid hyenas running around bitching and moaning about every little detail, which is not even important to the film. The only thing that I can say in terms for this review, hopefully you'll see this at some place where you're not going to have fanboys or or the trolls bouncing around to ruin your enjoyment of it, because this is a really, really good film. It's definitely worth your time to go see. Anyway, that's my review. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.